Most of my memories of the North End are very beautiful. We had fruit trees everywhere, flowers, everybody had flowers, and everybody in the neighborhood grew something, some type of food. We brought that with us when we came from the South and continued that when we moved to Detroit. So it was just plenty of food and good food.
In the city of Detroit, we're living on land that was occupied by indigenous people prior to the colonization by the French, some of whom did farming. And then once the French colonizers moved here, they began what they call ribbon farms, starting from the Detroit River. And these would be very narrow farms that might be about 2 miles long. And then we had this huge influx of African Americans from the South and some poor whites who were coming from the South to work in the automobile factories in and around Detroit, and most of them brought their agricultural heritage with them.
I come from a background where all of my relatives were farmers of some sort. My grandfather had his own little farm where they grew all of the food that we ate.
There were chickens in the backyard, and you grew something. Everybody grew something, whether it was fruit trees or berries or something. And then we shared them around the community. Everybody, you didn't go to the store for tomatoes. Everybody had tomatoes and things. But over the years, the generations, the newer, younger generations didn't grow their vegetables. And then there started to be a reduction in the major food chains.
Oakland Avenue and the North End has been a predominantly black community for the last several decades. This is one of the areas that has been intentionally disinvested in. And if you go up and down Oakland Avenue, you'll see a number of vacant buildings. You'll see a lot of blighted properties.
The Oakland Avenue Farm was started in 2008, and inviting people from the community to come in and talk about what we could do with the land that was vacant on Oakland between the church and the nearest commercial business, 10 vacant lots.
The Oakland Urban Farm is it's a place where people in the community try to react to the fact that they couldn't have fresh food.
Oakland Avenue Urban Farm has a unique history. Reverend Bertha L. Carter, she is the founder of North End Christian CDC, and she began this program simply by providing food out the back of her truck. She would get food from Kroger to people in the community who were food insecure.
In 2008, my daughter, Jerry Hebram, came with her husband, and they came with great ideas. And their first idea was the farming.
We invited the community to come in, and they had specific ideas about what food we would grow. In the North End, we look at foods that are culturally appropriate to the people who live in our community. So we grow peas and beans.
We grow sweet potatoes, we grow tomatoes,
Collards, kale, spinach, Swiss chard,
broccoli, cauliflower,
cucumbers,
garlic.
A lot of people have idealistic notions about farming, but farming is really both a science and an art. And so there's a tremendous amount of knowledge you have to really do it correctly and to make it profitable.
Of course, we are grant funded currently, and grant funding is 80% of our funding source right now, but we are backing that out. We are trying to reverse that so that we are more sustainable, 80%, and maybe grant funded 20%.
Of course, this farm, like so many farms in Detroit, faces the challenges of how to make that economically sustainable. So the farm, in partnership with its sort of broad multidisciplinary network, has been looking at ways to create a sustainable network of activities between new businesses, value-added products, cultural programming, the rehabilitation of buildings for eco-tourists. And so what we see at the Oakland Avenue Urban Farm are hybrid typologies that are emerging. It's mixing agricultural landscape with cultural landscape, admitting that not everything needs to be productive to create value for community.
And so part of what many of us are trying to do is make smaller economies, and not just economies, but smaller systems that are not so subject to fail and that are resilient, are sustainable, and put the health of the planet and the health of human beings in the forefront.